Hello and welcome to Fight News Now Extra Boxing Edition. I am Corey Erdman. Coming up today, Gennady Golovkin continues to dominate. Canelo and Kirkland are headed to Houston. Oh, and the biggest fight of all time has been officially signed as well. After 6 long years of rumors and speculation, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao have signed on to meet on May 2nd at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mayweather announced the fight officially on Friday night through his social media app, Shots. The bout will be just the second joint venture between HBO and Showtime, with the first being Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson in 2002. Many are expecting the standard pay-per-view price to increase to around $100 for the high-definition feed and $75 for standard def. The undercard will feature one bout to be made by Mayweather Promotions and one to be made by Top Rank, with Jim Lampley, Al Bernstein, and Roy Jones Jr. handling the commentary duties for the event. Now, as a result of Mayweather-Pacquiao being signed, Canelo Alvarez's date with James Kirkland has now been moved off May 2nd and will also move out of San Antonio. The junior middleweight clash will now take place at Minute Maid Park, the home of the Houston Astros, the following weekend on May 9th. This will be the first time the park has hosted boxing events, and the suggested setup could hold up to 50,000 fans. Presale tickets for the event officially went on sale this Sunday. Now, with Pacquiao, Mayweather, and Canelo all tied up with dates in May, Miguel Cotto is the odd megastar out. However, he does have a willing challenger waiting if he wants it. Following his dominant win over Martin Murray on HBO this Saturday, Gennady Golovkin once again called out Cotto. Golovkin now holds the WBA and interim WBC middleweight title, but eyes the linear title, which Cotto holds at the moment. K2 Promotions head Tom Loeffler has said that preliminary discussions have taken place between him and Cotto's attorney about a possible pay-per-view date in 2015. And joining me right now is my good pal Morgan Campbell of the Toronto Star. Morgan, I guess we can't even really call this the inevitable Mayweather-Pacquiao finally being announced, because I've been on camera so many times saying this fight will never happen, and yet these negotiations actually went quite smoothly in comparison to the last time they were in the boardroom.
Well, one thing is, just because a fight is the fight that makes sense for fans and for the sport doesn't mean it's going to happen. This is why we never had Ray Leonard versus Aaron Pryor. This is why we never had Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis. But again, as I was writing on my blog this morning, when you look at the pay-per-view numbers for Pacquiao and Mayweather, Pacquiao's last fight against Algieri maybe did 400,000 buys. Mayweather, he's a guy that's used to breaking 1 million buys every single time. His last 2 fights have been under 1 million buys. When your stock drops that quickly, it's amazing how soon, how fast these guys can put all of their differences to the side and rescue each other's relevance.
Now, obviously, everyone has had some sort of an opinion on the event already and the fight itself. And one of the questions I keep hearing asked is this fight as big as it would have been had it been done 6 years ago, when maybe both guys were right in their primes when this fight was white hot and could have happened right away? And my question in response is, well, why wouldn't it be? Because boxing is no further away from the public consciousness. And we've also made advances with pay-per-view prices, with different things like that. We're 2 years removed from the highest grossing pay-per-view in the history of the sport, one of the highest grossing sporting events, period, with Mayweather and Canelo. Right. Why wouldn't this be as big as it would have been in 2008?
Yeah, you have to kind of, you have to separate the sport and the in-ring event from the overall event. So in the ring, is the product diminished? Probably in a lot of ways, because both these guys are a little bit slower, although you could argue that might make it more exciting, because Mayweather's a little bit easier to hit now, and Pacquiao's never been super tough to hit, and now he's even a little bit more easier to hit, a little bit more easy to hit. But in terms of the size of the overall event, it might actually be a little bit bigger now. It's because there's been this pent-up demand, right? And it's at the point, it's like when you're going to buy a car and you don't get the price you want, you're about to leave, damn it, I'm leaving the dealership. All of a sudden, the dealer comes back with the deal you want, right? So like, how many times we've written this fight off, we've written it off. Now all of a sudden it's here, and all these people who paid attention all along are still paying attention. All these people who don't normally pay attention are now paying attention. All the people who swore they'd never pay attention again are back paying attention. You put all those people together and you might have significantly more eyeballs than you would have had, 5 years ago.
Yeah, now the idea that people are throwing out there that they will boycott this event if it gets a $100 price tag on pay-per-view, as many are speculating that it will, I think people bowing out of ordering that fight is a bit of a fallacy. Now, there is the debate over how big this fight is going to be, and there's hyperbole on both ends. There's the people who say, no, we've waited too long, this fight is past its expiry date, I'm not ordering whatsoever. Yes, you are. However, I don't think 5 million people are going to order this the way that Stephen A. Smith was saying today on ESPN. I don't think there's any way ever that any fight will hit 5 million pay-per-view buys, but I do think it's a relative guarantee that this is going to surpass Mayweather De La Hoya as both for the number of buys and the highest grossing pay-per-view too.
Two things, yes. All these people who said they aren't buying it, and again, whether or not the fighter's in their prime has almost nothing to do with this. Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. How many pay-per-views did that do? At least 2 million, probably 2.2 million. This happened in 2002, a full 14 years after Mike Tyson's peak. People don't care. If it's a big event, you get two big personalities, they'll watch. Whether or not they're at the top of their game, it really doesn't matter. Second of all, 5 million views. You can have 5 million views, or you can have the $100 price point. You won't have both. Now, more people than will admit right now will buy this fight at $100. Right? There's all these people right now saying $100 is too steep. May 2nd, you get to about 7, 8 o'clock at night, they'll go get the cable converter and buy this fight. But it won't be 5 million. Now, you drop the price to $30, $40, you might sell 10 million. But and this is going to be the trick for Showtime and Al Heyman and for HBO, is finding the balancing point between maximizing revenue from each customer and getting the most customers possible.
No, the other thing people don't understand is, a lot of people say, okay, well, the casual fan isn't going to pay $100 to order it by himself or his or herself. Sure, but then they go to a sports bar and watch it. And the sports bar, if a sports bar is to air the pay-per-view, the numbers get counted in accordance with the capacity of that venue. So they will get, 100 buys out of that, for example. There is no actual head count of people who watch this pay-per-view. So if every sports bar orders this pay-per-view, as I anticipate they would, if they're an intelligent establishment and restaurant, then we'll get monstrous numbers that'll go through the roof.
Well, here in Toronto, they'll probably do that one holdout sports bar that says, nope, first priority goes to Stanley Cup hockey. But second thing is, no, every single individual isn't going to buy. That's my phone on the floor. Every single individual isn't going to buy this pay-per-view at $100, but that's the point. Like, a fight like this is like the Super Bowl. There's going to be all kinds of people watching it that don't normally watch boxing. And what happens on Super Bowl Sunday is that you have all these parties of people that you didn't even know were football fans saying, hey, I'm going to a Super Bowl party. So this is what's going to happen with Pacquiao Mayweather. You'll have all kinds of people going to these Pacquiao Mayweather fight parties. So yeah, each person who watches the fight isn't spending $100, but one person is going to get 10 people to chip in, and $100 cost is defrayed. They'll be fine.
Well, the two of us will be providing plenty more coverage as we march on towards the fight. We have 68 days to go until one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport.